What's up guys, this is Merc Music and welcome to the Black Ops 4 rant. Now I've got to admit, Black Ops 4 is actually a very solid game, but there's always room for improvement. I know I'm labeling this video as a rant, but it's really just going to be a lot of suggestions that I think could overall just really improve Black Ops 4. One thing I want to say right off the bat is that if at any point in this video, if you agree with anything that I'm saying and you would like to see these changes being made, make sure to tweet this video to David Vonderhaar. I'll put his ad on screen. Maybe you can also tweet it to Treyarch or Call of Duty. Just try to do whatever you can possible so this video can get some more visibility and so that they can see it. So that way, hopefully some of these changes can actually be made to the game. So without further ado, let the ranting begin. I think first and most importantly are the player counts in Black Ops 4. As I'm sure most of you guys know, Black Ops 4 is kind of going for this whole competitive thing by being 5v5, which means a majority of the game modes in Black Ops 4 are 5v5, although there are some 6v6. But if I'm not mistaken, Black Ops 4 in its current state only allows you to play 6v6 in like Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirmed, and nothing else. The problem is that when you're playing 5v5 on some of these maps, not all of them, just some of the larger ones, the experience starts to slow down heavily, and that's not a good thing for Call of Duty. If we had more 6v6, 9v9, or possibly even 12v12 modes, then this would be taken care of very quickly. In my opinion, to get the whole traditional Call of Duty feel as far as goes for maps and how they play, you need 3 map essentials. You have to get the map size, the player counts, and the spawn flow just perfectly. All 3 of these things, when combined and mastered perfectly, will create an amazing Call of Duty experience. I've made this reference numerous times before, and I'm always going to make it again. Crash from Call of Duty 4 was one of the ideal maps that I talked about before. Small to medium size, and you could play 6v6 or up to 9v9 on it, and the spawns flowed in such a way that it always felt like you were in the action, whether or not you were playing non-objective or objective game modes. The next thing I want to address for Black Ops 4 is the lack of casual game modes. And this kind of ties back to the whole 5v5 thing. It's a very competitive kind of scene for the, typical public matches. It doesn't really feel like there's a lot of casual game modes for people that just want to kind of chill and play something fun. I really do think that Black Ops 4 is going to suffer over time if they don't have casual game modes to offset how competitive the game is. So the solution here is very simple. Just add some party game modes. I know it's going to happen at some point. I feel like it's better to add stuff like gun game and prop hunts sooner rather than later. And who knows, maybe Treyarch actually has some brand new party game modes waiting for us. This next thing I'm going to bring up is actually a missing feature in the game that has existed in past Call of Duty games. You can't bring your entire party out of a match when you want to leave a game. I don't really get why this isn't in the game. It's just another one of those features that just hasn't been brought over to a new Call of Duty game. I do feel like the reason why you can't take your entire party out of a game if you want to rage quit is because, well, they don't want you to rage quit. I think the fact that you don't get XP when you leave a game early just goes to show that they don't want you to rage quit games. But at the same time, it's also extremely inconvenient, especially if there's a game that could possibly be hacked or people are cheating in, which is happening, and I'll get to that later. But ultimately, if you're not enjoying the match that you're in, you should be able to take your whole party just like you have been in past Call of Duty games. You shouldn't just not have that ability for some reason. So the simple solution is just to be able to pull your entire party whenever you leave a game. I feel like this next problem I'm going to bring up could be slightly controversial because, well, it's a little subjective. It's hard to know exactly whether or not this is true. But I do believe that Black Ops 4 does not run entirely on dedicated servers. If I can, I'm going to throw up some footage of a lag switch lobby that we got into. Now, a lot of past Call of Duty games haven't run on dedicated servers. They ran on a peer-to-peer connection where there's a player who hosts the entire lobby for everyone else. Traditionally, the problem with having just a random player in the game hosting the lobby is that it can be exploited very heavily. This has allowed players in the past to run modded lobbies and to actually be able to boot people offline. When connections are not secure and they're not running on a dedicated server, things can go wrong very quickly. And that has been the case on Black Ops 4 already. We literally ran into a lobby where someone was trying to hit us offline while killing us and just completely exploiting the lobby. On top of that, we have run into lobbies where the connection interrupted, unpluggy thing starts to happen, which proves that there are still some games that you'll play that don't run on dedicated servers. Unfortunately, I don't really have a solution for this problem other than actually having complete dedicated servers, but I feel like that's not going to be a complete reality for Call of Duty quite yet. But we can still hope and dream for 100% dedicated servers. Please, Vondi, make our dreams and prayers come true. This next problem is kind of a small one, but they do need to fix it. For some reason, you just can't see emblems in the pregame lobby. What is the point of spending countless hours making booty and boob emblems if you can't see them? Sure, they're gonna get reported in about 5 minutes and then you're gonna be banned forever from the emblem creator, but you still want your friends to appreciate them. There is kind of a temporary workaround that allows your party members to temporarily see your emblem, but then it goes away anyway. So this whole thing kind of just has to get fixed. This next problem I'm going to address is actually just a missing feature. You can't view other people's profiles while in game. Again, this is just a missing feature. This has existed in past Call of Duty games, and I don't get why you can't do it in Black Ops 4. If you ever had to block someone or report them or even just see their profile, you can't do that while you're in game on Black Ops 4. I don't know if this is just something that has been overlooked, but it needs to be added back into the game. I'm pretty sure it's been in every single Call of Duty game ever made, and it just needs to come back. This next problem is broken play of the game. Now, I know we've seen some very weird play of the games in the beta, but I think those have been addressed, but the play of the game is still sometimes broken. I'm not 100% sure if it's still showing really weird faces, but it's broken in the the sense that you can start watching the play of the game and then randomly it just freezes as you're watching. I'm not exactly sure what the solution is, but they need to make the play of the game smoother and actually just work sometimes. This next problem is a missing feature, and again, I don't get why it's not in Black Ops 4. When you're matchmaking and you're finally in a lobby, you can't see the teams before you go into a match. I know it might seem like I'm nitpicking, like these are really small details, but this has been a feature in every single Call of Duty game prior to Black Ops 4. And I think it's really strange that you can't see the teams before you're going into a game. It makes it increasingly difficult to tell whether or not a team is going to be fairly balanced or not. And I feel like this was done on purpose because if a team looks heavily stacked, sometimes people will leave and then it's harder to actually find games and matchmake. So I feel like Treyarch was kind of dumbing down or simplifying this experience. But ultimately, I feel like players deserve to have the option to actually see what team they're going to be on before they load into a match. So Treyarch, please add this back. This next one's going to be extremely controversial. I don't know if it's proven. It might be a little too early to tell, but I'm pretty sure that skill-based matchmaking and reverse boosting is in Black Ops 4. Unfortunately, I'm not the person to provide objective footage that can prove to you exactly that it's in the game, but here's pretty much my experience with Black Ops 4 early on. When I first started playing and I didn't have any stats, I was just crushing it. I was getting into very easy lobbies and I was getting like really high KDs and stuff and winning every game. And then it got to a point where I was starting to play against better players and stuff like that. And then I was starting to play against players who were even better than me. And my stats just kind of went like that. I went from god tier player to peasant in a matter of 3 games. And if I were to just go matchmake now, I would probably get into a lobby with players who are pretty good. My chances of running into lower level players or players that just aren't that good is very unlikely now. But not too long ago, we were playing with one of my friends, Casey, and he was only a level 6. And when we matchmade with him, we were getting into lobbies with all of the noobs again. So yes, while it is still very subjective, I do believe that this game has skill-based matchmaking at some degree. And I know over the course of this game's life cycle, they're going to deny it. They're going to say that skill-based matchmaking is not in the game. But with the whole vibe of Black Ops 4's multiplayer going for a competitive scene and being 5v5, I find this to be very unlikely. I really do believe that Vonderhaar and Treyarch want this game to be tactical and to be competitive. And it's not going to be competitive if there isn't some kind of skill-based matchmaking. I just personally feel like this is wrong, at least as far as it goes for just regular public matches. They need to prioritize connection first and foremost. I feel like you should mostly just be playing with people that are around your area so that way you get the best connection possible. And then from there, balance the teams, but don't just outright separate people from skill group to skill group. Save that for a dedicated competitive mode. On top of that, once your game has skill-based matchmaking, you also reintroduce reverse boosting. If you're not familiar with reverse boosting, it's basically people just throwing games and killing themselves as much as possible to lower their stats. So that way they can start playing against really bad players again. Reverse boosting is wrong and it's a product of skill-based matchmaking. Another controversial topic I want to talk about is the tick rate for servers on Black Ops 4. I think it was ever since Black Ops 3 I've been watching a channel called Battle Nonsense, and he uploaded a video proving that Black Ops 4 runs on 20Hz servers. Again, I'm not the person that's going to get into all the nitty-gritty details, but I will tell you this. The tick rate of a server determines how much information the player receives and how much information the player sends to the server. The lower that number is, the less consistent the experience is going to be. If I'm not mistaken, in Battle Nonsense's video, he proved that in the Black Ops 4 beta, the servers were running at 60 Hz, and then in the full game, they dropped down to 20. I really don't want to get into how controversial this is, but I think there's a very simple solution. If possible, increase the tick rate of the servers from 20 Hz to 60 Hz, boom, everything's solved, everyone's happy. And hopefully it will lead to a more consistent experience in Black Ops 4 on both Blackout and multiplayer. I recently saw in Black Ops 4's patch notes that there was an under-the-map exploit on Morocco that was fixed, but there currently is an under-the-map glitch on Arsenal that's very bad, and we experienced it a few days ago firsthand from the enemy team. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get the theater mode footage, but I do have some gameplay of what happened when I saw it happen to Matt. Yeah, Vondi, you gotta fix this stuff.
No, no.
Another missing feature slash bug fix is the fact that you can't see recent players. I don't get why this is a problem, but for some reason when you go to check your recent players, at least in our case, we still can only see recent players from the first day that we play Black Ops 4, and we can barely see any of the actual recent players we've run into. I don't know what has to be done to fix this, but it does have to be addressed at some point. And last but certainly not least, we need to talk about the ICR. The ICR in Black Ops 4 is never being used, and it's way too weak, so Vondi, please.
We need to make the ICR a complete laser gun. It needs to have no recoil whatsoever. It needs to be a one-shot kill from any range, no matter where you shoot anyone.
And while you're at it, can you please buff Ajax's 9-bang? It's so weak.
If you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Alright, that's enough ranting. Obviously, I was just joking with the last one, but I think everything else I mentioned is very valid. So again, if you agree with anything that I said in this video, make sure to like this video and tweet it to David Vonderhaar, Treyarch, or Call of Duty. Do whatever you can to get this video out there so that way hopefully Black Ops 4 can get some changes. I hope this whole little rant doesn't come across as complaining. I just want to see Black Ops 4 improve and be the best game possible. And making a little video like this is the best way I know how to go about doing that. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the Black Ops 4 rant. If you guys did and you want to see some more Black Ops 4 stuff, make sure to drop a like, and I'll see you guys later.